Russian forces launched a blistering attack on the Azovstal steel plant in the city of Mariupol in Ukraine. Russian artillery and planes are targeting the besieged steel plant, Moscow accusing the Ukrainian forces of using a pause in the fighting to once again take up their combat positions at the plant. Russia, in fact, says that they are destroying Ukrainian firing positions. Mariupol's mayor says that more than 200 civilians were still holed up in the Azovstal steel plant, and thick black smoke could be seen rising from the destroyed plant after the shelling. The head of Mariupol's patrol police saying that Russian forces tried to storm the Azovstal plant. The attack started after Russian aircraft bombed the site overnight. Russia further accusing the Ukrainian forces of taking advantage of a UN-brokered ceasefire that had allowed several groups of civilians to escape the plant over the last 2 days. Meanwhile, civilians evacuated from Russian-occupied areas in Mariupol arrived in the Ukrainian-controlled city of Zaporizhia. Listen in.
Сейчас будем звонить. It was a risk. It was a risk, but they wanted to get from Mariupol, so we decided that it's worth it. And I have other relatives still in Mariupol. Perhaps my uncle is in Azovstal. He is in the forces, so I don't know where he is still. So we are waiting.
The sprawling Azovstal plant is the last holdout of the Ukrainian forces in Mariupol, where soldiers and civilians have been sheltering in a maze of underground tunnels. In late April, the Russian president had said that he had called off plans for the Russian military to storm Azovstal and instead ordered a siege of the steel plant. Mariupol is a major target for Russia as it seeks to cut Ukraine off from the Black Sea and connect Russian-controlled territory in the south and east. And while the UN and the Red Cross are pushing for evacuations of the civilians from Mariupol, Kiev says that the soldiers who are holed up inside the plant cannot be left at the mercy of the Russian forces.
I would like to emphasize that this evacuation effort covers only civilians, and we still have Ukrainian defenders who, including wounded, severely wounded Ukrainian soldiers, and their lives should not be left at the discretion of Russian army, who continues bombarding their positions. So we will work tirelessly to make sure that we save as many human lives as possible in Mariupol.
After failing to take Ukraine's capital, Kiev, Moscow has shifted its 2-month-old invasion strategy to largely Russian-speaking areas. The United States has now warned that Russia might be planning imminently to annex parts of Ukrainian territory. Russian forces are struggling to capture key areas on the battlefield. And as warned by America, Moscow may now be moving to formally claim the 2 eastern regions of Ukraine, Luhansk and Donetsk. Pro-Russia separatists in the 2 regions declared independence in the year 2014, but Moscow has so far stopped short of formally incorporating them, as it did that year with the Crimean Peninsula. The statement was issued by Michael Carpenter, who is the U.S. ambassador to Europe's Organization for Security and Cooperation, citing highly credible intelligence. He said that Russia will probably stage fraudulent referendums later this month. The U.S. also believes that Russia is considering a similar plan in a 3rd region, Kherson. Moscow has recently solidified its control in the region and imposed the use of its ruble currency.
Now we believe that the Kremlin may be trying to organize a Kherson People's Republic in the Kherson Oblast of southern Ukraine. Such sham referenda, fabricated votes, will not be considered legitimate, nor will any attempts to annex additional Ukrainian territory.
And our correspondent William Denslow has sent us this report from Latvia. Take a look.
According to Michael Carpenter, he says this is right out of the Kremlin's playbook. Of course, you rightly cite that example of the annexation of Crimea as well. Carpenter also suggesting that Russia was seeking to create puppets and proxies in other parts of Ukraine as well. Of course, the message from Kiev is that they will not give an inch of territory that they see as theirs to Russia going forward. So very much signs of Kiev not backing down despite these warnings from this US credible intelligence, as Michael Carpenter suggests. This, of course, comes as Sergei Lavrov in recent days has issued a number of demands. He says he wants to see what he claims to be, he wants to see denazification, he wants to see strategic geographical locations discussed, he wants to see issues regarding the Russian language addressed as well. Of course, Sergei Lavrov also calling on the West to stop arming Ukrainian forces as well. So what we're seeing is an incredibly protracted conflict, perhaps in the making, considering the fact that there are warnings that Russia's position in the east of the country especially is becoming increasingly entrenched, and Kiev, well, their message is that they will continue fighting and show very few signs of backing down to what they very much perceive as Russian aggression in their sovereign country.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.